You put $10,000 in a savings account. A year later, you made $39. $39. That's about $3 a month. Not per week, per month. Now here's the question most people never ask. What if the problem isn't how much you're saving, but where your money is sitting? Because that same $10,000 could be making you $400, $700, or even $1,000 a year, depending on where you put it and how much risk you take. Same money, no extra effort, just a different decision. Let me show you how big this actually is. Meet Jake and Alex. They both saved $10,000. Same income, same discipline, same goal. They both did the hard part. They didn't overspend. They didn't go into debt. They actually saved the money. But then something interesting happens. Jake does what most people do. He leaves his money where it landed, in his savings account. Alex pauses for a second and asks one simple question. Is this the best place for this money? Fast forward 1 year. Jake earns about $39. Alex earns anywhere from $400 to $1,000, depending on where he puts it and how much risk he takes. That's not a small difference. That's 10 times, sometimes 20 times more. And here's where it really starts to matter. That gap doesn't stay small. It compounds. Most people look at this and think it's just a few $100s. Not a big deal. But stretch that over time. Over 5 years, 10 years, even 20 years, you're no longer talking about a few $100s. You're talking about thousands, then tens of thousands. All from one decision, where your money sits. Here's a simple way to think about it. If you lose $400 a year because your money is in the wrong place, over 10 years, that's $4,000. But when you factor in compounding, it's not just $4,000. It's the growth that $4,000 could have produced on top of itself. That's how small decisions quietly turn into big outcomes. And this is exactly why this matters early. Because every dollar that gets positioned correctly today has more time to compound than a dollar you move later. Time amplifies good decisions, but it also amplifies bad ones. So let's break this down simply. There are a lot of places your money can go, but these are 4 of the most common and most useful options most people should understand. And each one has a completely different job. First, the traditional savings account. This is where most people are. It's a basic bank account that pays a small amount of interest just for holding your cash. It's FDIC insured, which means it's protected up to $250,000. You can access your money anytime. From a safety and convenience standpoint, it checks every box. But the return is almost nothing, usually between 0.01% and maybe 0.5%. So your $10,000 earns $10, $20, maybe $39. And here's the problem. Inflation is higher than that. If inflation is around 3%, your $10,000 needs to grow by $300 just to stay even. But you're earning $39. That means every year you're quietly losing purchasing power. Nothing dramatic, nothing you feel day to day. But over time, that adds up. This is not investing. This is storage. And this is where people get stuck. Because it feels responsible. It feels safe. It feels like you're doing the right thing. But financially, it's one of the least effective places your money can be long term. Now, here's the first upgrade. A high-yield savings account. This is still a savings account, still a bank, still FDIC insured, still safe, still easy to move money in and out. But instead of earning almost nothing, you're earning around 4% to 5%. So now your $10,000 earns $400 to $500 a year. That's a massive jump for doing almost nothing. You didn't take on risk. You didn't learn investing. You didn't change your behavior. You just moved your money. And suddenly it's working. Now imagine Jake realizes this after a year and switches. That's good. But Alex has already been earning 10 times more that entire time. That's the cost of not knowing. That's the cost of leaving money in the wrong place. Now, here's where most people miss an opportunity. Federal money market funds. The name sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. These are funds that invest in short-term US government debt, like treasury bills. So while they're not FDIC insured, they're backed by very safe assets. The risk is still very low. The return is often very similar to high-yield savings, usually around 4% to 5%. So again, $10,000 earns about $500 a year. But here's the difference most people overlook. Taxes. Savings account interest is taxed as ordinary income. With some federal money market funds, especially those that invest in U.S. Treasury securities, a portion of that income can be exempt from state taxes. Not all money market funds qualify for this, but when they do, it means you keep more of what you earn. There are trade-offs. You need a brokerage account. You can't spend directly from it like a checking account. You have to transfer the money. But it's still very liquid, usually available quickly, often within a day. So this becomes a smarter place to park larger amounts of cash. Still safe, still stable, but more efficient. And now pause for a second, because everything we've talked about so far is still cash. Safe, stable, predictable, but limited. Because cash generally has a ceiling. If you leave your money in cash forever, it will grow slowly, but it won't build wealth. This is where Alex makes the real shift. He starts investing in ETFs. An ETF, or exchange-traded fund, is simply a basket of investments. Instead of buying one stock, you're buying hundreds or even thousands of companies at once. Your money is now tied to the market. Historically, over long periods of time, that has returned around 7% to 10% per year. So now that same $10,000 has the potential to earn $700, $800, even $1,000 a year over time. And more importantly, that growth compounds. That $1,000 doesn't just sit there. The next year, you earn returns on the original $10,000 plus the $1,000. Then the next year, on an even larger amount. This is how money starts to accelerate. Here's what that looks like over time. Early on, the growth feels small, maybe a few $100s. Then it becomes a few thousand. Then, eventually, the growth itself becomes larger than what you're contributing. That's when investing starts to feel completely different. And this is the point most people never reach. Not because it's impossible, but because they stop too early or never start at all. They stay in the safe phase forever and never transition into the growth phase. But here's the trade-off, and this is important. This is not stable like cash. The market goes up and sometimes it goes down. You might open your account and see it lower than before. That's normal in the short term. That's the cost of higher returns. This is why ETFs are not for short-term money, not for your emergency fund, not for money you might need in the next year or two. This is long-term money. 5 years, 10 years, longer? Because over time, those ups and downs smooth out and the compounding becomes powerful. So now the difference becomes clear. Savings account, safe, but earns almost nothing. High yield savings, safe, earns something. Money market fund, also very safe, but can be more efficient, especially for taxes in certain cases. ETFs, higher return, but comes with market risk and requires time. Each one has a job. But most people make the same mistake Jake did. They put all their money in the safest option and never move it. So their money never grows. It just sits. Meanwhile, Alex did something simple. He matched the tool to the job. Cash he might need soon goes into a high-yield savings account or money market fund. Money for the future goes into ETFs. And that one shift changes everything. Because the difference between $39 and $500 or $1,000 isn't effort. It's awareness. And here's the line you need to remember. Savings accounts are for convenience, not for progress. So if your money isn't growing, it's falling behind. And fixing that doesn't require more effort, just better placement. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, I get where my money should go, but what should I actually invest in? That's exactly what I break down in the next video. The simplest options beginners can start with, how to think about them, and how to choose what actually makes sense for you. Click that video now, and I'll show you exactly what to do with your first $1,000.